Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Wrestling toys don't tend to get a whole lot of traction here, but sometimes something so great comes out that I just gotta give it a review anyway, even though this is, this came into Ringside Collectibles probably months ago. I found it at Target the other day. I am such a fan of what Seth freaking Rollins, which, by the way, shouldn't it say that up here? Shouldn't this be Seth freaking Rollins? I am such a fan of what he's been doing over the last few years. I have thoroughly enjoyed watching him evolve this character and push the limits and discover what he's comfortable with on TV and what this character can be. And the answer to what it can be is, I don't know. I don't know what this character is, but what was Macho Man? Just explain Macho Man to me. Seth Rollins is having a great time putting on incredible matches, and I just think he's one of those guys that is just magic in wrestling. And the first time he wore this gear, my thought was, I gotta have a figure of that gear. Now, granted, I've had that same thought a few times with different gear that he's worn, but this one I'm very excited to have. This is, of course, part of the WWE Ultimate Edition from Mattel. These are, in theory, the top-of-the-line figures that Mattel offers. Come with deluxe accessories, multiple portraits. It's a big deal. They're in big, fancy boxes. On the back here, you get a nice shot of the figure, as well as a nice shot of Rollins himself attacking Bobby Lashley, who is coming up pretty soon here in the Ultimate Edition series himself. Height 6'1", from Davenport, Iowa. Finisher The Stomp, career highlight, Universal Champion. He is a visionary, he is a revolutionary, he is Seth Rollins, and he is determined to be the greatest superstar in history. The WWE Universe can't help but sing his song when Seth Rollins turns up the heat inside the ring, ready to burn it down. Oh, all right. I'm not gonna get into all that, because I don't. You guys don't want to sit here and have to sing Seth Rollins' whole theme song, right? Because that's what we're all compelled to do when it comes on. So we just got to move along and open this figure up. So these boxes are pretty fancy, like sort of book style boxes that are clearly intended to be kept. I do not keep them. Look at that smug, that face. And then there are always quotes. Which, the visionary, I don't know that that's something he's necessarily burn it down. Those are not the best quotes they've ever featured in these boxes. So the interior tray just comes right out of there to make everything a little bit easier to remove. He's got a couple of conducting hands, a couple of open gesturing hands, some fists for punching, two alternate portraits, and an incredible entrance robe. We'll take a look at that in a second. What made me so excited about that when I first saw it was that, and we now know that there's an Ultimate Asuka on the way. Asuka is my favorite wrestler currently, and for several years now. And there was the promise of a deluxe Asuka figure years ago with one of her crazy robes, and it fell through. It didn't happen. And now we are getting an Ultimate Asuka that will be, we'll get that treatment. Man, I love this deco. Is just look. Oh man, look at the designs on the side. Try and line everything up there. Obviously, very difficult, I'm sure, for these figure designers. Look, he's got the belt loops with the belt, and this is all, to my memory, accurate to how this gear is designed, that everything, all these lines, kind of line up with everything else. Oh, this is a new feature on these. Hang on, let me get... Okay. So these figures now feature drop-down hips, the same way that the G.I. Joe Classified series does. And I think this might be the first Ultimate figure I've gotten that has them, because I don't buy a ton of these. In general, I would rather just have an Elite figure. Wow, okay, so I don't know how much of this is new tooling. Like I said, I haven't bought a ton of Ultimates lately. But look at the veins on the biceps there. These seem like different arms than I've seen on WWE figures before. That may not be entirely accurate. I am not a WWE expert person. This is certainly a more slender Ultimate torso than I've seen before, and you can see the articulation. You've got the great joint there, which some people feel like this is an eyesore. It's in pictures and videos, it's more noticeable than it is in person. Once you put this on the shelf, and yes, it's of course it's a big giant, line across the figure. But to me, this looks better than the ab crunch. Speaking of abs, look at this guy's abs, ridiculous. The chest hair deco is just outrageous. They did a nice job with that. He's got the butterfly joints for the full, great range on those too. Very impressed. I'm just seeing if anything's stuck here. So we have on the left arm, the upper joint won't move. And on the right arm, the lower joint won't move. Why is something always got to be stuck? There we go. Okay, so got that one loose. Got that one loose. Okay, there we go. So just crazy range on these arms with the butterfly joints, the double jointed elbows, which, by the way, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of double jointed knees and elbows, but I think Mattel has generally done a good job of working them into the profile of the figure. It doesn't scream joint to me, although I do wish they could shorten up some of their legs, because in a way, all of Mattel's wrestling figures look like Patrick Starr with the long legs. Like, all of their legs just seem a little too long to me. Although Rollins is, a more, I don't want to say slender guy, although that's probably the right word. So his skinny legs don't stand out quite as much. And honestly, these legs are a little thick compared to some of the other ones I've gotten. So maybe Mattel is kind of getting on that as well. He's got the softer plastic knee pads that you can kind of move up and down as you need to get the most functionality out of those double jointed knees. Everything moves nicely. You got a swivel at the boot top. The ankles are... There are two things that I kind of take issue with Mattel at this point. First of all, these toe joints. Personally, I find them completely unnecessary. I always have hated toe joints in action figures. These have the older, primitive rocker-style ankles rather than the peg that most modern action figures have. I wish Mattel would update that. And I wish, my gosh, Mattel, would you please update that horrible cut joint at the waist? You guys, Jazzwares is putting $20 AEW figures out that don't have this awful, awful cut joint. But as I said on a Macho Man, I reviewed an Ultimate Macho Man probably over a year ago, maybe longer. And his waist didn't move. He just relied on this joint for rotation, which would be fine with me, because that's just horrid and unsightly. And I know the answer is, well, just don't move it then. Okay, fine, I won't. All right, so there is your Ultimate articulation action figure. Looks really great. A little more neck articulation would be nice. So let's take a look at this portrait, actually, before we move on to the other ones. Just neutral face, important to have. In general, I like having a neutral option for when I'm putting stuff on the shelf. Wrestling figures, I've really gotten to the point where I do love having different expressions. But for something like this, you gotta have a neutral expression included as well. All the deco looks great. The way they've got his beard kind of faded up right here looks good. The hair is, it's just brown plastic, but it's fine. This is pre when he went back to having the blonde, so it works. This is good, and they'll be putting the blonde out at some point. You can swap that out if you want to, but I think the paint on the face looks fantastic. Just really captured Seth Rollins. So the heads swap out. This could stand to be updated as well. This does not provide a whole lot of range for the heads. I would love to see them add a disc here like G.I. Joe Classified had at first. I don't really want a joint here because that's going to not look good. I really would like to see the disc up here like Hasbro has used in some of their lines. So anyway, head pops right off easily enough, and we've got that sort of sneery smile face that Rollins gets when he's just like made fun of someone or condescended to them in a really effective way. It looks great. I love this portrait, but this is not the one I will be using. The laughing, delighted with himself, delighted with his place in the world in WWE. This is the portrait that's going on the shelf. 100%. So that pops right on there, and I mean, it's got it pops right on and it pops right back off as well. There we go. I didn't have it on quite enough. So yeah, not a ton of range in that head. I think Mattel can do better. Mattel can absolutely do better. For an ultimate figure, I think we need more range in the heads. So there is laughing, delighted Seth freaking Rollins. Like I said, he's got a couple of conducting hands. He's got his just sort of open gesturing hands. And we're not going to swap the hands out because first we have to take a look at this ridiculous robe. Soft goods are tough. But look at this. With all of the colors, the sort of stained glass look, the silver, I don't know how well you can tell in the video. Let me get Rollins out of the way and focus on the robe. All of those little dots are metallic silver, like shiny, catch the light metallic silver. They look fantastic. Of course, he's got the ties for the robe in the back. I'll probably just leave those there because that robe's going to be open, showing off that wacky chest hair. And then whatever fur this is, it's really soft. It feels really good for the scale. They've done a great job with the color on it. It has kind of like a fox look, I guess. Is that because he's not on SmackDown? I was going to say because SmackDown's on Fox. So there it is. Just really, really well done piece of soft goods. So now let's pop those C-grips off and figure out how well he can wear this robe. I'm guessing when he enters, his hair is in the robe. Like, I don't think he bothers with putting his hair up over the collar or anything, which would normally be kind of a sticking point for me. But Rollins' robes are so big and ridiculous that I don't think that's a practical thought. Oh, I've lost a little bit of robe fuzz there. Hopefully that doesn't happen too much. So there it is. Gosh, I wish that head had more range, because I'd really like to have him sort of leaned over with his head looking up, but unfortunately that's just not possible. But otherwise, This is tremendous. Mattel has done a great job with this. I can't wait to see what other Rollins looks we might get from Ultimates. I think this is great for his first Ultimate. And there it is. Seth freaking Rollins. Awesome figure. You can order it now. You can find it at Target, or you can wait for a ringside sale. I'm sure he'll be part of the ringside sales, you know, over the coming months. But whatever the case, like, if you're a fan of Seth freaking Rollins, right now, this is the figure you gotta have. They did an amazing job with this one. Thanks for watching, you guys. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about Needless Things. And until next time, whoa!
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.